Good morning. Welcome to this episode of Beyond the Blueprint. I'm Jason Smith, your host, and today we have a very special guest with us. He is the president and CEO of the Greensboro Sports Foundation and also running for Greensboro City Council at large, Richard Beard. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right.
Yeah.
So before we get started, I'm going to kind of read through a little bit of his bio, let you know a little bit about who we're talking to today, and we'll get going from there. Richard Beard is a seasoned economic development professional and real estate consultant with over 30 years of experience in site selection, business recruitment, and industrial development in the Greensboro area. Richard grew up in Greensboro, went to Page High School, which is pretty cool, earned a business degree from Greensboro College. His career started in economic development in 1993 with the Roanoke Valley Economic Development Partnership. He returned to Greensboro in 1996 as a senior project manager with the Chamber of Commerce. In 2005, he joined Simpson, Schulman, and Beard, commercial real estate firm here locally, and that's where he kicked off Rock Creek Commercial, the industrial park, correct?
Yeah.
Right? We're going to talk about that here in a few minutes as well. His leadership with the Rock Creek Center development created over $1 billion in new tax base for Guilford County and over 5,000 jobs. That's huge. In 2022, he left that and he became the president and CEO of the Greensboro Sports Foundation, also an organization you helped founded.
Yeah.
Richard has a passion for sports and local sports, so he's very active. Pretty much with the Sports Foundation, anything that comes to this Greensboro area, Richard's got his hands on it or touching it in some way. So that's really cool. And what we're going to do today is let's talk a little politics first. Sure. And a little bit about Greensboro. And obviously you're running for City Council at large. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk about public safety.
Sure.
Obviously that's a big concern for everybody. What is your position on that? And then what are some things that you'd like to see the city improve on?
Sure. Well, public safety is everything in the community, and I hear that from people all over the community. It doesn't matter what sector we're in the community, public safety is number one. I had a police ride-along a couple Fridays ago, and I wanted to make sure I saw it at a time that I would see a lot, and that was from 8 p.m. till 3 a.m. And no question, we need more cars and more bodies in terms of police officers. So we've got to invest in our police force, and we need more police on the street.
Do you see the city moving in that direction as a whole anyway? I mean, do you think that's kind of the consensus?
I do think it's the consensus, and our current city council did the right thing on raising the starting salary to a little over $52,000 a year, which helped a lot of our great officers that were going to High Point and Burlington. So, wages have become important. The police officers tell me that they've got plenty of equipment. So when we say we need to equip our officers, we need to equip them with patrol cars, and we need to hire more police officers.
Well, I have to ask, what was the ride-along like? I mean, so what kind of calls did you go on that you can share? Anything exciting?
Well, it was pretty quiet up until about 10:30, and then it started getting pretty lively. But from about 1:30 in the morning until 3 a.m., it was pretty interesting, and the police officers refer to it as the club dump. And it was a crowd control issue, and it was something that still sticks in my head, and we've got to make some changes in this community to make, especially downtown, to make it feel safe and to make it feel welcoming for everyone in the community. But it goes across all of Greensboro. I mean, we've got a violent crime issue. We've got young people that are losing their lives over it, and that really bothers me, and I want to make a difference when it comes to that.
Well, you did. I'm assuming they put you in the front seat, not the back seat?
I was in the front seat, and I want to stay in the front seat, for sure.
All right. So let's move on to some planning and growth. What kind of infrastructure updates do you think Greensboro needs to stay in that positive growth pattern? and I'm referencing facilities like, so today we are in the Greensboro Aquatic Center, by the way, which is an amazing facility. I think on the way over here, you said it's one of the top 4 facilities like this in the country.
In the country,
absolutely. So we're going to talk about that as well in a little bit too. But when I'm talking about growth and infrastructure, I'm talking about the Tanger Center, the Coliseum next door, the Aquatic Center. I know you mentioned maybe some possible things in the works at some point, but what kind of things do you see that we need to do, not just in the sports side, but just entertainment, economic growth, whatever it might be, to
Sure.
infrastructure-wise, to help keep pushing forward?
Well, you bring up a good point, because infrastructure is not all about water and sewer and roads.
Right.
Although that's very important, and we need to continue expanding our infrastructure to areas that don't have the infrastructure in place, and that is going to give us the ability to build more attainable housing. And housing is going to be absolutely critical with the growth that we've got coming up, and hopefully we'll hit on that later. But we also need to continue expanding our quality of life, and that's where the First Horizon Coliseum and the whole Coliseum complex, Tanger, our parks and recreation facilities. We have a $280 million deficit or deferred maintenance issue with just in our parks and recreation. And I think parks and recreation comes into play when it comes to public safety, because it's a safe environment for our kids to go and maybe find more positive alternatives than what we're seeing in the community today. So we've got a big task ahead when it comes to infrastructure. We're also very fortunate when it comes to a road network that we have an infrastructure to grow into, where the Greenville, South Carolinas, and the Raleighs and the Charlottes grew so fast, but their roads didn't grow with them.
Yes.
Our roads grew so fast before the growth came. So
Yes.
we're in a great position there. So
I was just telling you, I was in Greenville, North Carolina, which is a great little town, by the way, yesterday. And at 5 o'clock, I'm on a 2-lane road, and you would have thought, I couldn't even see cars in front of me or behind me, the end of them. And then we were on Greenville Boulevard, and I just thinking of all the growth that happens when you outgrow the pace and you're not ahead of it, like you just said.
Yeah.
So we can go to Raleigh, Charlotte. I'm in all those big cities all the time, and they're growing so fast. But we have done a good job, and we are actually the central location of the Triad in general, and the road system, and our airport, and all the things that we have. We really do set up nicely for economic growth. The airport's a whole nother podcast, because that's just amazing.
Yeah.
But what's going on there? But what about as far as this infrastructure stuff? We have the arena next door, and obviously I'm a big fan of supporting it, and we're on the sports council together, and we're big proponents of that kind of stuff. But it takes a lot of money to keep
Sure.
a facility up like that, and I know it needs some upgrades. And I think you and I've talked about it before. I think there's something coming where they're going to try to update the restrooms and maybe
Correct.
some different things. Tell us a little bit about some of that.
Yeah, well,
Whatever you can.
Well, in our Coliseum complex, including this aquatic center here, we need about $200 million worth of improvements and enhancements and renovations throughout the complex. The Greensboro Coliseum is a magnet for the whole region when it comes to entertainment. Over 1,100 events a year. The economic impact that it brings to the area is incredible, but it's all on the back of the taxpayers of Greensboro.
Yeah.
So $200 million needs is not an easy fix, but fortunately we have $20 million coming through the city that's paid back by our occupancy taxes through our Convention and Visitors Bureau. That'll help us make some needed improvements prior to the 2027 men's ACC basketball tournament. And then we're also lobbying the state of North Carolina for a $30 million appropriation because it's a regional asset. It'd be great to get some help from our state to enhance this facility, and we're making some traction there. And then we got a lot of work to figure out how we're going to do the rest of it.
Yeah, and you guys do a great job of hitting the street and and winning bids to bring people to this market.
Sure.
And that's what creates a lot of local economy for us with
That's
the
right.
restaurants, hotels, and all the other ancillary things that benefit. So,
Sure.
all right, so let's move on to housing. Obviously, there's a housing shortage, big picture housing shortage. And so as we bring jobs and as we grow, I mean, what do you see the Greensboro City Council doing to facilitate and assist with housing and at a pace that we can do this? Because we don't need this. We don't need more homes in 10 years or 5 years. We need them today.
That's
we
right.
needed them yesterday.
You're
and
right.
you and I had a conversation a week or so ago, and we were just talking about how can we fast forward some of this and move it at a little faster pace from where somebody buys a piece of land or infill to where they can actually move dirt and go vertical. And
Sure.
that needs to speed up. And what do you see from that perspective, how you can help with that?
Yeah, well, I actually went to a meeting last night, and there was a presentation about our city manager, Trey Davis's goal for 10,000 houses
Yes.
or units in the next 5 years. And while that's an ambitious goal, that's probably a smaller number than what it really needs to be. So.
Yeah.
But I'm encouraged about some, and I fully support, especially as I run for city council, I fully support everything that is needed to make that happen, because we desperately need that. And I want these, all this growth and these people moving to the area to live in Greensboro and to love living in Greensboro, but they also become Greensboro taxpayers.
Yeah.
And rather than living in the outskirts of Greensboro and still coming and using our Coliseum and our Aquatic Center and our Tanger, which is still on the backs of us. So, we need to be aggressive on supplying those housing units. And that's going to be with more efficient permitting. TRC reviews got to be streamlined to where you don't go submit plans and you come back and 3 times later you're still submitting plans.
Yeah.
That's time is money.
Yes.
I'm encouraged that the city has taken an inventory of potential available sites that they can go and make a deal with a developer to encourage this growth. So there's some things in place to start moving in that direction. I hope that I'm on city council to put an even bigger push, because we've got a lot of catching up to do in just 5 short years.
Yeah. So in my line of work, I mean, obviously I'm in real estate, and I work with lots of builders, developers, and I work with banks and all aspects of it. And I just really hear from all of my folks and that just moving this thing faster is so important, and everything gets backlogged. And then by the time you really get going, there's just so many things that in front of you that you can't move. And so
Sure.
I just feel like those are things that really need to be addressed. I sit on an advisory board through Trebeck for the Build 10,000. And so we just had a meeting with Trey and some city staff, and that went very well. And it's encouraging to see, even though it's a goal and we need more, but we got to start somewhere.
Sure.
And so I think that's a good start.
And I think it's important for people to know that this isn't an effort to cut corners. I mean, this is following the codes and the proper way of building. It just needs to be a more efficient way. And we both know, because I've been in the development world as well, that you get bogged down in minutia, and a lot of the things that hold up a project are really unnecessary.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some common sense that has to go behind it too.
Exactly. And I feel like there could be some give and take, and I want to make sure I do agree with the city and the staff that, hey, things have got to go the way they need to be, and you got to go through the process. But there is ways that we can speed that up. I think we're not going from one thing to the next. Maybe some people can be doing some things at the same time, and hopefully that's a way to.
Yeah, we need to hire some more people too. I mean,
exactly.
These are critical positions that are bringing revenue to the community, and that's what. It's not a waste of money. This not many places in government are giving you a true return on investment.
Yeah.
Well, the planning department brings a huge return on investment, and we need to support that.
Right. All right. My next question is just the growth trajectory, and specifically in the news lately is the airport.
Mm-hmm.
We've had the announcement of Jet Zero. They already have Honda Jet, Hayco, Timco. You've got Marshall, Boom. You got all these things going on at the airport. It is fascinating what they're doing over there. Talk about how all that impacts the city of Greensboro and all areas, because it affects everything.
Yeah. Well, when Jet Zero comes in and announces 14,000 jobs, that's not a boost to just Greensboro. That's a boost to the entire triad, but also up into Virginia. But 30 years ago, when I came back to Greensboro and I was working for the Chamber of Commerce, one of my first big projects was the FedEx project. It was controversial with the Cardinal neighborhood and the noise. And quite frankly, FedEx didn't turn out to be the project that we thought it and were hoping, because their models changed. But what we got out of it was a parallel runway that the federal government paid for primarily. And without that parallel runway, we wouldn't have had the vision to go buy the golf course and to make a mega site out there. And the leadership, Henry Isaacson and Hudnall Christopher and these leaders of the airport that had the vision to expand and to go to General Assembly to get a bridge to nowhere. And had we not had that bridge and that parallel runway, we wouldn't be talking about Boom Supersonic and Jet Zero. So the airport, let's don't forget Toyota and the mega site to the south, but the mega site to the north and the airport has really transformed Greensboro's economy. And aviation is going to be such an impact on our community that I often compare it to when the Cones came here in the late 1800s and brought textiles, because textiles made Greensboro. Textiles went away. Now aviation and electric vehicle technology is going to make our
So I was at a function just a couple days ago, and the folks from the Piedmont Triad International Airport were speaking, and I thought he brought up something really funny. It's just a little comment, but he was asking if anybody knew when George Jetson was born or when his birthday was. And I'm like, half the people in the room don't even know who George Jetson is, right?
Yeah.
We probably do, but a lot of them don't.
Oh,
But anyway,
I know George Jetson.
He was born in 2022, and in the show 2062, he said that's when he was 40 years old in the show, and that's when he was doing these vertical flying vehicles and things, and they're talking that might not be far from true. And I'm sure thinking, man, that really might be. Yeah. I don't know if I'll be around, but whatever.
Well, we're aging ourselves, but we also remember Dick Tracy, and he had a smartwatch that we thought was the craziest thing, and now I don't wear one, but a lot of people do.
Yeah. And so one of the also things I thought, that bridge across, they redid Bryan Boulevard, and I just they've done a good job. Now that you cross that runway, the bridge there, that opened up everything to Jet Zero.
That's right.
And it's fascinating.
It is.
I think there's a lot to come there, and jobs, housing, which is very important, and it just impacts everything from dining to hotels to sports, and those people will be swimming here, and so on.
And the prosperity throughout the community, because it will put pressure on wages, and wages are going to go up, which is not a bad thing for a lot of people in Greensboro. Yeah. So, we need to focus on the future, and the future is preparing for all this economic development that we have coming.
Right. Well, thank you for joining us today. Thanks for watching this latest episode of Beyond the Blueprint. If you want to catch us or find us, go to triadnewhomeguide.com, or you can watch us on any of your favorite podcast platforms. Thank you.